Hello, and welcome to No Such Thing as a Bad Movie podcast. I'm April Atmansky, and I'm here today with...
Justin the Clue.
And Colin Cunningham. Why are you so serious, Justin?
We're doing a very serious film this week, so I want to bring the respect it deserves.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly. A very serious movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are no laughs.
It's called Deck the Halls. From
2006.
From
What was the last... Oh, go ahead, director.
From director John Whitesell, who brought us Big Mama's House 2, Malibu's Most Wanted, and Big Mama's House Like Father, Like Son.
The long gap sequel we all wanted.
Was Malibu Most Wanted Jamie Kennedy?
I think
Yes.
so, yeah.
Oh, God.
He also directed a ton of TV stuff. But
Oh, yeah, like Hot in Cleveland, Girl Meets World.
Oh, my God.
Shows that just seem fake, like Faking It and Bella and the Bulldogs. We're all big fans of Bella and the Bulldogs, right?
Never heard of it.
It's a Nickelodeon show from 2015.
okay.
I mean, I have heard of Hot in Cleveland. I haven't seen it, though.
I've heard of Cleveland.
Hot in Cleveland is about three hot older women. Betty White's on it.
I was going to say, like the Golden Girls.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
there's
that's what it is.
Younger women as well.
Whoa, he directed a film called Thunderstruck I've never heard of before. When Brian, a hopelessly uncoordinated young fan, magically switches talents with his hero, basketball star Kevin Durant, he becomes the star of his high school team, while Kevin Durant suddenly can't make a shot to save his life.
Sounds like wacky hijinks.
Oh, I'm laughing
Yeah.
already.
Okay, so Deck the Halls was Colin's choice.
Was it
Much
really?
like Sophie's choice.
We kind of, it was
it
too.
was this or Cranks.
We watched Christmas with the Cranks the other day, and yeah, it was kind of like a big flat line.
Hey, haven't seen both. I do think this is the better movie.
I think it's slightly better.
It's worse in different ways.
It's kind of similar in that you don't like any of the characters.
Christmas with the Cranks is very hateful, too. I mean, this one is hateful, but in a, I guess, goofier way, a little bit.
If it wasn't Danny DeVito,
They
like
both,
if it was some other character, like you kind of instantly like Danny DeVito in anything that he shows
although
up
what he does doesn't really make sense in this movie.
No.
But they both feature a conservative dad who is afraid of their daughter having sex, essentially. And that is in both movies. So it's like I didn't need that. But this movie has some things that one didn't. Christmas with the Cranks was mostly kind of boring.
It was, yeah.
But this is not good either. But you know what? I laughed sometimes.
There are a few scenes that got me laughing.
It's not like Furry Vengeance where I was like laughing throughout the whole movie and actually enjoyed it. This is a bad movie that I had moments of some of the gags.
As we go through all of these great sequences, a smile will spring to your face like a child on Christmas morning, and it'll end and you'll go, you know what, Justin? This was a great Christmas movie.
Well, it has like a 4% on Rotten Tomatoes. So
No, I think it had a 5, and Christmas
5?
with the Cranks had a 4.
Okay.
So it's one better.
So this is like universally reviled.
Did you guys read? Of course, this movie has like wild IMDb trivia. I just knew it even before I clicked on it that it's like that Danny DeVito flew in for his scenes, didn't talk to anybody, and left. Matthew Broderick supposedly walked around on set mumbling, "I've hit rock bottom" under his breath.
I did hear about that. He was.
That sounds like someone made up trivia, though. Like,
it does. I also heard, I think this was on How Did This Get Made, that like Kristen Davis was also saying like weird things on set to people. Like she told like a woman that she should freeze her eggs.
She told Kristen Chenoweth that.
Oh, so it was Kristen Chenoweth.
And Kristen Chenoweth had just broken up with Aaron Sorkin at the time.
I didn't know they were dating.
Yeah,
Or married.
yeah. So everybody was miserable making this movie.
And you can tell.
My God, you can tell. Matthew Broderick.
He's really bad.
He looks so miserable, and you instantly dislike his character, like right from the get-go.
Well, this morning I was like, what has Matthew Broderick done? Like, since like
manslaughter?
This time?
Yeah, he killed someone.
That was way before this.
Yes.
So obviously we know he was an 80s star, and he was in lots of hugely successful movies where he played like the kind of playboy, funny, cute, a bit of a hunk guy. Mm-hmm. And then after the 90s, maybe it was after the accident, I don't know, his career took such a turn where he only plays annoying losers.
Well, he had a big Broadway run.
Yeah,
where he
was
did the
big on
producers.
Broadway.
Oh,
He
the
did
producers,
which
yeah.
I saw the movie version of that, and that was not good.
Yeah, he's kind of like, he does
He
this sort of
always
miserable
plays that
put upon character.
Yeah, and it can work. The two instances
Like
where I can think
in
of
Election.
it working, is Election and the Cable Guy. I think he's
Yes.
perfect straight man to Jim Carrey in that.
He's very like the uptight kind of guy.
Yeah, but like after Election, I looked up his IMDb. A ton of movies I have never heard of, and like a few like TV like cameos here and there. Mm-hmm. Like he's done a little bit of voice work. Obviously he's in The Lion King, and like he was on 30 Rock for like 2 episodes with some okay cameos. But generally, he's in movies I have never heard of. He was the husband in the Stepford Wives remake that I kind of liked.
With Nicole Kidman?
Yeah.
Never saw it.
But he plays basically the same character.
Right.
You know what I
What,
mean?
you're not a fan of Wonderful World, Finding Amanda, Diminished Capacity, the Goobler movie?
Yeah. What? Have you heard of any
You're
of
making
these?
up.
Well, one of them I did.
Who
Do you know
directed
which
these,
one it is?
But
John
the
Whitesell?
Googler movie?
The Googler movie?
I mean, look it up and you'll find out for yourself. Then She Found Me.
Are these fake movies? Are these like
you're just
Christian
putting
movies?
words together. What do you
Together
think?
We Go. Yeah, like these
Yeah.
movies. Some of those are fake that I just said, but you don't know. You don't know what they are.
There you go, right? So what the heck happened? I mean, I don't know. Maybe getting in that car accident changed him in a way.
Maybe his public
I'm sure
persona.
it did. Well, maybe he didn't want to have a public persona that's like,
Yeah.
Ferris Bueller.
You'd want to like duck out.
Or maybe he just realized my niche is playing these nebbish characters. I mean, like, remember like Godzilla? He was terrible in
That's
that,
right. He starred in Godzilla.
Oh,
Ugh.
yeah.
I forgot about that.
And at that point, that was the early 90s, he was still young and cute. And like now he's getting older, although he still has like that kind of like baby face, but he's just like a dweeb,
he's
and
just-
an annoying one at that in this movie.
Yeah, he's very unlikable in this movie, and it's just someone that you don't want to spend time with. It's
He's
like,
negative.
I forgot he was Inspector Gadget as well.
That
Oh,
too.
God,
I mean, we might need to
that's
do that
right.
at some point because that's infamous.
He did it the same year as Election.
Yeah, that's
no.
insane. And also, Election also tinged with tragedy as well. Somebody died on the production of that movie. It was
which-
a PA.
were
I
they
think it was
run
a
over?
PA driving a van or something.
Okay. It wasn't someone.
Oh, it was another car accident. Yeah, but nothing to do with Matthew Broderick,
Okay.
as far as I know. But
Like it happened.
But
again.
April is starting an investigation on her own. Let's see.
yeah.
Gonna start a
Part
podcast
of
like
serial
Serial.
type podcast. No, but I mean, I feel bad because obviously, it's not like he meant to kill those people, but
Those people.
I think it was 2 people that died, right?
Oh God, was
Yeah.
it? I thought it was one.
It was a vehicular manslaughter.
It was in Ireland, and I
yeah,
think he
Ireland.
was on vacation and
And
was
I
driving.
believe
He
on the
was
wrong
never
side of the
charged
road.
with manslaughter. All he was charged with was careless driving and a fine of $175.
Yeah, which is rough. But anyway, this movie, he's supposed to be like happy quote unquote Christmas guy, and he just seems depressed even before he meets Danny DeVito. There's something like off.
Yeah,
about
right
his
from the get-go,
character.
he's just so sarcastic and
His family
miserable.
hates him.
No wonder. Kristen Davis is so patient with him in this movie.
Yeah,
it's
actually,
like, why
I
are you
guess.
with
I mean,
this person?
I love Sex and the City. I'm a huge fan. This is it was happening around the same time. Maybe it had just recently ended. I'm not sure.
Sarah Jessica Parker, married
Oh,
to
that's
Matthew
right.
Broderick.
So
There you
that's
go.
probably how she got that job, or maybe something blah blah blah. So Kristen Davis is fine in this movie. Like
I did
she's-
not even know who she was. I was like, who is this? Oh, she's in Sex
kind
and the City.
She's basically playing the same character. There's
Yeah.
really not a lot of difference.
This
between
capped off her trio of terrible movies that included Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and she was also in the Tim Allen remake of The Shaggy Dog, and then Deck the Halls.
Oh my God! So that was the
Fire
kind
your
of work she
agent.
could get. Yeah, damn.
Oh, the hat trick. Oh my God.
We got to do Shaggy Dog sometime. We have to do a Tim Allen movie.
You guys have seen that amazing scene of like the dog hugging a woman and then it turns into a naked Tim Allen?
No, I have not.
Very funny.
This. Okay, maybe we'll watch it.
So let's start this movie. First of all, we see the 20th Century Fox logo, and I'm like, oh no Christmas music. But then the Regency logo comes up, and I'm like, yeah, Christmas music, fuck yeah.
They Christmasify the Regency logo.
It turns into a candy cane.
I have not seen the funny, logo, stuff in a while, like messing with the film logo.
It happens from time to time.
Well, The Wild, a good example.
Did they do something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Does the opening shot of the city, it looks like a miniature to me, but I was like, is this CG? Yeah.
You know what? I did see a miniature credit in the end credits.
Okay, so that's what it is, that
I was
opening
trying
shot.
I was trying to figure out what they would have done. I thought maybe some of the like shots of Danny DeVito's house, but yeah, that makes more sense. It's the miniature.
And then we visit Matthew Broderick. He's doing an optometrist exam. We're watching a horror film. No, I hate these. And then we get right away.
Is this the woman from Dead Silence? I forgot to look it up.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Is it?
I think it is.
I don't think it is, but yeah.
The old woman who was, the puppeteer.
Mary Shaw or whatever her name was.
Yeah.
And we now get the perfect humor of this film, which is like rapping grannies, terrified of the elderly, because she goes, oh, I'm so beautiful with these glasses on.
I'm really hot.
She goes,
and then they pull it away and it's like, oh, she's old. Ah. And Matthew Broderick, right from the get-go, he's such a piece of shit. He's like, oh, you don't need glasses. You're going to need a telescope. It's like, you're a goddamn optometrist, man. What are you doing?
Yeah, some bedside manner.
It's so funny, though. He's just like, oh, yeah, you need binoculars, but we're settling for glasses. And then he just like, she's like, oh, I don't want to wear glasses because they'll make me look old. And then he just like gives her glasses. Like, here you go, try these on. And then that's not how it works at an optometrist.
Yeah, it's time to write that in the goofs of the movie.
It's like, you did.
Also, it bugged me at the beginning of this. He goes, this or this? This. How are you supposed to know which one you mean? It's
That's
one
the
or
joke,
two.
April.
Oh, is that a joke? That was a joke.
I guess so. Yeah.
Anyway.
No wonder you didn't laugh. The humor just went right over your head.
I'm like Danny DeVito in this movie. He doesn't understand sarcasm.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to say that stuff goes over Danny DeVito's head. It does, because he's little.
It does. Yeah. That was also what I was saying.
Yeah.
Oh, see, April can play 4D chess as well.
We're introduced to Broderick. He's he leaves his office. He's wandering around town. Everyone knows him in town. Like, hey, Dr. Finch, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He's running the Winterfest, I think it's called. He's like the head of that. So they're building like this big Christmas tree in the middle of town. They're asking him for his advice on decorations and stuff like that. He's the Christmas guy.
He feels important.
And one of the guys in town tells him, oh, I could keep secrets, like the secret that the chief of police wear women's underwear.
Oh, is
Put
that
this one
okay?
in your hat because it's going to come back later.
I
totally missed that.
Yeah.
Gay panic time in the movies, everybody. Or
I missed
the last
that.
15
And then
years.
when it's revealed later, I thought it was so random.
Yeah.
Non sequitur.
It's our fault. We just didn't pay attention.
Wow. Okay,
Colin, you didn't watch the movies like you usually do for this podcast like 3 times.
I actually watched it twice.
You didn't watch the whole thing.
Maybe you were laughing too hard through
I was
this
skimming
scene.
through it this morning with subtitles.
We have seen this before. We watched this last year.
Well,
yeah.
We got until the speed skating scene, and then I felt sick and had to turn it off. And I went to bed. And I remember you were like, I'm going to bed too. Now, looking back on it, this was, I think, when we had COVID. So I think that's why.
Your Letterboxd review says, I just couldn't take it anymore. I had to turn it off.
Yeah, it's like it gave you anxiety.
I remember feeling like sick to my stomach watching this movie. I don't know why. This
It would have been
time,
funny if you
less
humorously projectile vomited on the screen while watching Deck the Halls.
Yeah.
So we then follow Matthew Broderick as he goes home. The credit comes up, shot by Mark Irwin, the cinematographer of all of David Cronenberg's early best works.
No.
And he became a comedy guy in the 2000s.
Really?
Basically, I think, I'm not I don't remember. Was it Videodrome? It's one of those movies that like he had a split with Cronenberg, and that was it. Like they never got back together again, and he kind of drifted through the 90s, doing whatever came his way. Like he did RoboCop 2, Class of 1999. Those are good movies, but eventually he became like the comedy guy and did like D2, Dumb and Dumber.
Oh wow,
Kingpin. So he did Scream, and so he did work with Wes Craven, but he mostly became like Road Trip, just ugly movies. American
just
Pie
like,
2.
It kind of established that comedy look of the 90s.
The kind of flat.
Malibu's Most Wanted. So he was working with the director of this film.
I don't think that this is like a overly ugly movie.
It's not a
It's
good.
better than Christmas with the Cranks,
That's
I gotta
for
say.
sure.
But yeah, it's not like anything.
It has
super
that
special.
comedy sheen to it.
Well, I
it's,
feel like
know,
we're on a backlot the whole movie. I don't even know if we're in a real
we're
neighborhood.
definitely on a backlot for this movie.
street set could not look any more fake.
Yeah.
I like it. There's like a wide shot later in the movie where Matthew Broderick walks from his side of the street to Danny DeVito's.
Yeah.
And the background is just like a black void, like they're in like a hell or something like that.
It's just like a gigantic fence where the backlot clearly ends. You can kind of see some buildings behind it. But
also, it's not set up like a neighborhood is. It's almost like a cul-de-sac, but there's like a house in the middle of the cul-de-sac, and that's Danny DeVito's house.
Yeah, it's weird. It's so it's the same thing with Christmas with the Cranks. It was like that
it could have been the
backlot.
same backlot, dude.
Probably, yeah.
So Matthew Broderick, his family sucks too. He has a misbehaving daughter played by Aliyah Shawkat.
Aliyah Shawkat.
Shawkat?
Shawkat.
I saw her at a bar once in Toronto.
And were you like,
I didn't say anything.
You were like, you were in Deck the Halls.
I don't even deck the house.
I was too afraid to say anything. But
that's your impression of
that's-
April when she goes out to a bar.
my claim to fame.
Of what? Seeing her in a bar is your claim to fame?
Yes, that's my claim to fame.
Everyone knows it.
I saw someone who is a mildly successful actor at a bar once. And I kind of like the son character. They joke that he's having a midlife crisis, which is kind of funny to me.
He's like a mini Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, but he's better.
He kind of dresses like him. He's really miserable. Not much of a character in this movie.
He doesn't get anything to do other than ogle the twins.
Nobody does really. Like the wife character and Aliyah Shawkat get almost
You're right.
nothing to
Aliyah
do.
Shawkat has like no lines. But I did like the son actor and character. I thought he was kind of
At
funny.
One Piece, he's reading One Piece. At one
Yes.
part, he's reading One Piece, and I was like, "Look, One Piece!" Like Leonardo DiCaprio, like pointing at the screen.
Yeah, it's great that you could even recognize that. Like, could you even see like the characters
I saw
on the page?
he was reading what looked like manga, and I was like, "What manga is he reading in 2006?" And then I just even it was upside down too, and the pages change from shot to shot.
Oh my
Put it in the
God.
goof section.
So he's reading One Piece.
Yeah. So Danny DeVito. It's Kirsten Davis. We're introduced to her, his long-suffering wife.
Mm-hmm.
She writes cookbooks, or she's an editor for a cookbook. So she takes other people's recipes and then just makes compilation books.
Makes
I
the
guess.
recipes for whatever reason.
And then so she's not writing her own cookbook. So whatever.
She's getting ready to open a website where she writes 1,500 words before the recipe starts. You
Yes.
know, the classic
Yeah.
cookbook thing.
Oh, I hate that.
They only do it because you need a certain amount of words to like qualify for SEO or something like that for search engines.
It's
Are you
ad-
kidding?
I think
Why
it's
there's all that.
ad
Yep.
related as well.
Yes.
It keeps you on the page longer.
I've got an amazing app. It's called Paprika. It's
Paprika?
Paprika. Sorry, it's a recipe app on the thing, and you just like put in the link it to the recipe that you want, and it like downloads it and strips out all the bullshit stories.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Because you know how those pages always have the skip to recipe button?
Yeah.
Sometimes that button doesn't even work.
Yeah. This thing,
Yeah.
this
It
thing
just brought me
strips
to
it all
another
out.
story, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how I
wanted this free recipe.
didn't want to hear how you went fishing with your grandpapa in like 1974.
But yeah, I mean, so like they have dinner and then like it's just them talking about like their boring lives.
Yeah, they're like, we're so rich. We live in
Yeah.
this big house. Isn't
Yeah, this
life
house
good?
is fucking huge, by the
It's
way.
obscene.
All the houses in these Christmas movies are just
It's like
fucking
the
insane.
Home Alone syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Where they have like gigantic houses.
It's a trope and it's part of the escapism. It's
They're
just,
like,
you know.
we're not suffering from the recession, which is almost here, I think, in 2006.
Yeah.
It's also, like the certain rom-coms that are aimed at older women. I'm saying older, like maybe like 20 and up. They all have gorgeous houses. And that's part of why people watch it, is the escapism of, I could have that kitchen.
Can that continue? Like once those like, Generation X people, the last generation to own like big houses goes away, will all movies take place in like bachelor apartments?
Basement apartments. Yeah. How are you going to shoot in there? There's not enough room.
People watching them like, these big houses, like, wow, I didn't know this was a fantasy movie.
Well, I haven't seen many of those Hallmark Christmas movies, but I'm going to fix that.
Oh, they all live in giant houses.
I'm going to fix
small
that
towns,
this Christmas.
I'm going to assume they have like a back lot with just like these gigantic houses.
I think they shoot like around Toronto a lot during the summer.
I mean, I have
there's like old houses and stuff.
I have a friend who was in one recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think he's in 2, isn't he?
No, she's talking about a different friend.
Oh, okay. Our other friend is
we
in,
have many friends who are in Hallmark Christmas movies.
So Matthew Broderick's sleeping. We hear this old like clunker of a moving truck sputtering up its way up the driveway.
They're moving in at the middle of the night.
He's like, who moves in at the middle of the night? A meth lab? We're introduced to Danny DeVito and his family. So Kristen Chenoweth is his wife. He's got these 2 like young hot twin daughters somehow.
They might as well be robots. They don't
really do
know
anything.
how to talk. They're just
they kind of finish
there.
each
They don't
other's
have
sentences.
emotions.
Yeah.
They're just like, they're like robots.
Like every other side character in this movie, they're just there to fill in space.
My favorite thing is Danny DeVito, because he rules, and he's just riffing up a storm when he shows up. He's like, oh, you ever been tased? I've been tased. Piss my pants. And I'm like, I love you, DeVito. You're the best.
Yeah, it's hard for me to separate him now from his Always Sunny character, because that's what I know. It's what I know him as so well. But
the best Christmas special is Always in Sunny in Philadelphia one. Naked Danny DeVito popping out of a couch.
Yeah.
That's
great.
what that's
from. I
from.
don't know if you've seen that, Colin.
I've seen that clip. I have no idea.
It's so hot in here.
It's pretty funny. But so that's not this character, but he's not that far off.
He always plays the same character, and you love him.
He's
one of those actors that can just play like those horrible scoundrel, and you just like
you still like
you
him.
love him. You laugh at everything he says, even though he's being like such a cad.
Mm-hmm. But, because he's charismatic, unlike Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, he just loves being like a sleazebag and like a jagoff.
And he's married to Kristen Chenoweth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Broadway actor. She's in movies. She's in a lot of television. I think she's mostly famous for Broadway, isn't she?
Probably, she's more known, I believe, as a singer. And then, probably
Pushing Daisies. How can we forget?
Yeah, I mean, I knew her from Pushing Daisies, a show I didn't even watch, but it was advertised to me a lot at the time, and I knew that she was on it.
She is also very, very tiny, like Danny DeVito.
Yeah, she's taller than Danny.
She's taller than Danny DeVito, though.
She's like, maybe 2 inches, but she's a tiny woman.
She's a very good casting to play his wife.
For sure, yeah.
But they introduce her and she's like a stripper or something like that.
Yeah, it's
They never get back to that though, right?
Did they imply that?
Yeah, because
yes, they do, 'cause
she comes over when they're like making the introductions on Matthew Broderick's like front porch, and then she's like talking to Danny DeVito. Oh, the ceilings are only 8 feet. We're gonna need a shorter pole in the bedroom.
Oh.
And then he's like,
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, and he's like,
That's the other thing about this movie.
He was like Tim Allen. He was like,
This movie is highly sexual. There's a lot of like quote unquote dirty jokes that mostly don't work. Although I have to say, I was laughing. That maybe this is my favorite part when I think this is the next scene where they go into the house and Kristen Chenoweth has like a nude picture of her, and like her boobs are like falling out of her shirt. I laughed.
Yeah, they kind of imply that
She was like, I was a nude model.
the family is like lower class and like sleazy and all this sort of stuff.
How
but
dare these,
They're clearly rich.
But it's like their house is massive.
Yeah.
They do imply that Danny DeVito has a lot of debt, though.
Yeah,
they do, but it doesn't seem to affect him in any
No.
way.
No.
He's got this massive house. They're spending cash like
Well, they will
like
be,
it's going out of
yeah.
existence. But it's very strange. So it's like Randy Quaid and his family moved in next door or something like from the vacation movies, but they're not really like that. It's very weird.
You can tell Matthew Broderick is just put off by them. Buddy Hall, by the way, is his name, because they're kind of crass. Mm-hmm. But also, Kristen Chenoweth like grabs Matthew Broderick's dick in that scene.
No, she doesn't.
Okay, she reaches or she does some. She points it out.
She points out his boner.
Okay, well that's insane.
She's talking about the stripper pole in the bedroom, and then she's like, "Oh, looks like we got a visitor."
So he got a boner.
Yeah.
When she said stripper pole.
They're all pointing at his
Yikes.
Matthew Broderick is so like uptight that just the mention of a pole, he's like,
Exactly.
hey, listen, if he just woke up, maybe he just needs to pee. That's what happens, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was wearing a robe.
He was wearing boxer shorts too. You know, they
so
don't.
You think he did? Oh, I was gonna say he had no boxer shorts. That's how she noticed.
Yeah, you think he's just wearing a t-shirt and just no pants?
He's Winnie the Poohing it.
Jokes like that just made me more like shocked and in disbelief. And there's
so wait,
stuff
like your
that
monocle
later.
falls out. You're like, oh.
I don't know.
I say,
what kind of movie is this? Is this a family movie?
It's very weird. The tone is sort of a little all over the place.
You can have a family movie and have it be funny.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be full of like boner jokes and like.
I disagree.
But I don't know.
But what they're trying to imitate is A Christmas Vacation. Mm-hmm. That's what they're trying to do. And that has like something for the daddies in the audience and something for the kids.
But it's right off the bat. It's like, I want to hang out with Danny DeVito and Kristen Chenoweth, man.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want to stay around with Matthew Broderick, the fucking wet blanket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like
he doesn't want people putting up lights because it's tacky, you know, and it's like ugh.
Yeah, like how are we supposed to identify with this like pompous, like guy who cares about Christmas decorations more
but
than
not
his
cool
family.
Christmas decorations.
Yeah.
The thing about Christmas decorations is that celebrating Christmas is inherently tacky in the kind of like North American way. You put those like very like gentle white lights up, get the fuck out of here. That's boring as hell. Give me like the garish displays. There was a place near my house that was like one of those like they're famous for all their multicolored lights. And there was just so many lights and inflatable and moving things like it burned your face off just staring at it. That's what you want with Christmas stuff.
I'm starting to think every neighborhood has
every
like
neighborhood
that.
has that one person who's like a little too into whatever holiday, like Halloween or Christmas.
Yeah, and like who's to say that like that it's bad?
No, that's fine. It's good for the kids. I used to love that stuff when I was a kid going by and you see.
Yeah, the kids love it. The town in this movie love it too. Like they can't get enough of Danny DeVito, what he's about to do.
They're coming from miles around. It seems.
I gotta say,
to this studio backlot.
Growing up near where I lived, I think it was like a 45-minute drive. There was like a neighborhood of like big rich houses, and every year we would go up and just drive around the neighborhood to look at the lights. So that's a real thing from
all the lights
life.
that their servants had put up.
Maybe, but it was so much fun, and it was like a neighborhood where maybe there'd be one or two houses that don't have lights, but they would all participate. They were all totally cool with people just coming up and driving around slowly and leaving. There wasn't like any like getting out of the car.
That's what they're doing
stuff.
It for, Justin, it seems like you'd be like the Halloween guy on your block or something like that.
We did do Halloween stuff on the day, but only this year because we had kind of like a house front we could use, but nobody came because we're at the end of a dead end.
Oh, okay.
So that was a
dead
shame.
End. You think that would be like a sales tactic?
We didn't even have a pumpkin, and we had the kids like going ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, and we're like hide.
And then
oh no, you were one of those people with the lights off.
No,
Don't
we had
bother them.
I have like the automated lights that just turn on automatically at night. So, and then I had to turn the light off. So
while
they rang the doorbell.
Outside.
So I like got out my phone and I turned the light off, and I could hear everyone go.
We had so much candy. We had candy for like 2 weeks after. Because I was like, there's going to be so many kids. We want to give them a lot of candy. We don't want to run out. We'll look like jerks.
Now you got tons of candy.
Nobody came. I sat in a monster suit on the lawn pretending to be a stuffed animal. And I scared one mom really badly, and I felt bad. Where it said it said don't pet the monster, and then she got really close. She's like hee hee. I was like oh, and she was like ah.
Oh, so maybe from now on, maybe reconsider that.
No. I want to do it more. I just want more people to come.
Okay, so we need to get to Danny DeVito's
job
modus operandi.
No,
in this movie.
I think he does it before he goes. No, we see him working as a car salesman. He's very good at his job.
Yeah, so he just moves to town. He's got a job as a car salesman, and then like they take a bet. They're like, "Oh, it's the new guy. Bet you try to sell a car to that old man outside who's like kicking the tires." And then they're like, Danny DeVito goes outside and they're like, yeah, that's the owner of the company.
Ha ha.
Ha ha ha. Danny DeVito, I don't know, you don't see it. He just comes back in. He's like, I sold the car to him. And the old man's like, I can't believe I just bought my own car.
Yeah, the fact that we don't see that is just like, well, what happened?
He's such a good salesman.
Brainwash him?
Danny DeVito's like, I'm going to kill you and your family if you don't buy a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does some really Cape Fear level creepy things in this movie later on. But
I would love if Danny DeVito was behind me in an audience when I was watching a movie, just smoking a big cigar and laughing.
Yeah,
you see that, buddy?
Excuse me, sir, can you put out your cigar?
Anyway.
Yeah, so it's implied that Danny DeVito is this amazing salesman, and he goes home to
Can sell anything.
Kristen Chenoweth is, implied his motivations in this movie are very sketchily defined.
He just wants to leave a mark, Colin. I just need something people remember me by.
Yeah, they keep coming back to I don't want to be invisible or something like that. And it's like, I don't know, you seem to be amazing at
You're
selling.
amazing at what you do.
You've got
Maybe
this,
he
beautiful
still is
family.
haunted by the fact that, he has little man syndrome. And not
Yes.
the Wayans brothers' little man syndrome. That would be a whole different movie.
Yeah, it could be, but that's not really explained.
No, it isn't. And it's just like, and Kristen Chenoweth is like, oh no, you're going to do it again. It's like every time you get bored of your job, you
move.
You quit, and then we end up moving towns.
They have the American dream. They have everything they would want, and he's still not happy. So he just needs to find something.
He's like, oh, I want to, I've always thought that I would do something monumental or, whatever. So he gets the idea that he's going to decorate his house, and he wants his house to be seen from space.
Thanks to Google Earth,
Yeah.
who I assume sponsored this movie in some way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the daughters show him some website. They're like, oh, we can see our town from space. And he's like,
Google Earth, Colin, get it right.
sorry.
And he just gets this in his head that that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, from space.
Who the fuck cares?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry. He cares. So he
Why
starts
do
putting up
people
lights.
climb mountains, April?
Yeah, I don't
To
know.
just dominate something.
But it's just like there's no, it's
To
like a kind of,
dominate
it's like a
something.
self-imposed sort of motivation. Like I felt that the movie would have been funnier maybe if it was like a kind of competition between.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was.
That's
like
what
a
I thought.
Yeah,
competition.
and no, it's not.
It's not. So Matthew Broderick doesn't have any decorations. So there's never any of that. There are some moments of competitiveness later on in
Yeah.
the movie, but it has nothing to do with decorations or anything
No,
like
because
that.
that would
Danny
be
DeVito
tacky.
calls his daughters the honeys in the scene. I went, I do not like that.
Yeah, and he's
No.
kind of kissing them too. It's kind of gross.
They look like fembots.
Yeah, they do.
We found the thing April hates about this movie. These twin sisters.
No, they're fine.
So he immediately starts putting up lights, and I don't know how he accomplishes at multiple points in this movie.
They just appear.
He decorates things and does things like he's a magician or like a wizard.
He's very good at his job,
there's-
just like his salesman skills.
Yeah, but not only does he not have the stature, but the time and the resources don't exist for him to
is
get this stuff up.
No possible way he can decorate this gigantic house in 10 minutes. He wakes up Matthew Broderick because he's using like a nail gun or hammer.
At night, of course.
Yes, at night. He's like, look at my house. It's going to be seen from space.
Yeah, and then Matthew Broderick, he just can't he just is a jerk, and he's just like,
He's an
well,
asshole.
You're being loud, so stop. He's just so unfriendly, you
Yeah.
know,
For no reason.
because he starts doing he starts everything. Because if he was just a little more, content or friendly, DeVito would never have gone that far.
Right.
Now, that being said, if I lived directly across the street from someone who had insanely bright lights and blaring noises until 4 a.m, I might be a little upset.
You turn into a Matthew Broderick, if you will.
Well, no, but if he was a little nicer, maybe he'd say, okay, turn them off at midnight.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey man, I can't sleep. Your lights are on.
Yeah, he kind of antagonizes him into pushing it further
Well,
and further.
and Danny DeVito's tries to be like, hey, let's just be friends. Like, I don't want to be enemies.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
DeVito's making an effort in this scene with Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, go have a beer with Danny DeVito.
Yeah, and
I'd
Matthew
who wouldn't
Broderick's
love that?
just a jerk.
Oh, Matthew Broderick's like, oh, I don't drink beer. Sorry,
It's like
that's
sour music.
swine. Just wine, please.
Yeah, he's such a snob. Oh, I'll have some.
This is like Christmas Vacation. He's like the yuppies next door, I guess.
Yeah, it's Christmas Vacation, but about the yuppies next door.
Yeah, and then that's
Julia Louise Dreyfus.
It's from their
Again, it's like, are we supposed to be sympathizing with Matthew Broderick's family?
I don't know.
I think we are.
Whose side are we on here?
He's the everyman. Everybody watching this movie is just flush with cash.
He's also
and like
the
Danny
music
DeVito
man.
needs to find meaning in their life.
Yeah. But it's like the Matthew Broderick's family. They get on with the DeVitos, no problem.
They love them. It's just like this classic story of like the patriarchs hate each other, you know.
Just like Homer Simpson and George Bush.
I was thinking more like that pizza movie, Little Italy.
Oh, yes. Let us forget The Simpsons, a forgotten pop culture. Let us remember Little
My
Italy.
movie is Little Italy. It takes place in Toronto.
Are we doing that again for an episode?
Yeah,
Is it
let's
third
just
time's
do
the
it
charm?
again. Yeah.
I feel like that movie is always on your mind, April. You're always
Well, I
thinking
went over
Little
to Justin's house to hang out with Emily, and I made her watch it. That was funny.
Also, Danny DeVito wanting to see his house from Planet Earth. Planet Earth in 2022 only updates like once a month. So good luck, Danny
Yeah,
DeVito.
it's not like, I didn't think it was like instantaneous.
No.
Yeah, because he puts up these lights and immediately runs in to wake up his daughters and is like, call it up again.
Yeah.
We can't see it. I gotta make it brighter.
Yeah, it's just a stupid movie thing.
Yeah.
So put it in the goofs.
Yeah, we cut to the next day. Matthew Broderick's trying to get his kids. They're taking the family Christmas photo.
In matching Christmas sweat. I would
yeah.
love to wear matching Christmas sweaters with my family.
It's not something I've ever done.
No, me
I think
neither.
It's pretty corny. I also never did Christmas cards or Christmas
is
photos
corny. No, I never did Christmas
Yeah,
cards
we never
either.
did those either. But it was kind of like a fad, I would say, like what? Maybe 7 or 8 years ago or something, where people would have like Christmas sweater parties and you'd go and buy
I
like
stink. I don't remember saying that.
yeah, it's like,
No, yeah, we went to a Christmas sweater party. I've been to a few ugly Christmas.
yeah, and people would go to the
sweater
mall
parties,
and
yeah.
just buy like the worst Christmas sweater they could buy.
I think that's over.
Yeah, it is.
Is it over?
It is. It had a thing for a minute.
Yeah.
We put it in the ground, April. No more.
Yeah, that's why I like dug that hole in the backyard and buried the
He dumped all his Christmas
Well, you
sweaters.
still have your Christmas sweater. I literally wore mine yesterday when we were decorating the tree. So,
but yeah, we see the Alia Shawkat doesn't want to put on the sweater, but then they have like all the family photos from previous years. And they're so badly photoshopped.
oh, they're hilarious. Freeze frame those because the heads just don't match.
How hard would it have been to just get the family together and take like 5 photos
Yeah,
one day?
They never do that in movies,
I think
especially
it's-
not on a type of movie like this.
I always get a kick out of just badly photoshopped like photos. Oh, remember when we went fishing that one time? And it's just like
they're
the
always
lighting is completely
terrible.
different on the two people.
It's one thing when it's supposed to be like the characters as kids or something,
Yeah.
and they take real pictures of them as kids. Okay, then you have to Photoshop it. But if it's just like how they look now, take a freaking picture.
I always love it when it's the really badly done kids ones where it's like, here's a picture of me at school, the school class, and then they zoom in on the one character and it's clearly just like, Photoshop.
It's like their face is too small for the head.
Or too big.
Or too
yeah.
big.
Yeah.
It's clearly the actor present day, but it's just like, stuck onto a kid's body.
Yeah, I mean, hey Justin, we had a picture in Impossible Horror. Did we Photoshop the two
No,
characters
we did.
together?
We took it for real.
We took an actual picture and then got it developed. Actually, there were lots of pictures in that because they were in the book. But
That's right.
So yeah,
Impossible Horror, available at goldenninjavideo.com. All right.
Chill. So yeah, he's trying to wrangle the family. They don't want to do it, and then they get distracted by something outside. And it's Danny DeVito has like a gigantic sleigh, like a Santa sleigh, and then these like 2 actual horses.
At this point, this is kind of not related to the lights. I guess Danny DeVito just loves Christmas.
Yeah, this is very weird.
yeah, that's not going to have it be seen from space.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. And it's like, what's he gonna do with these horses? So he's like taped.
That he just found.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, also he says like reindeer. Turns out they're not indigenous to where we live. But then later he has like a camel and like a llama.
exactly.
A camel definitely not indigenous to Massachusetts. I believe that's where they are.
I think so.
But yeah, so he duct taped some fake antlers on their heads.
Yeah, and then of course Matthew Broderick gets caught in this amazing The horses take off. They're really skittish.
With Matthew Broderick on the sleigh.
Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, cut to Matthew Broderick in front of a green screen, being like, "Oh!"
And then the stuntman in the wides.
Oh, they do their best to hide. It's so clearly not Matthew Broderick in the wides, but they do their best to kind of cut away before you see his face every single time, and then it'll just cut back to Matthew Broderick. Whoa!
I will say
there's
that
a really weird
like
shot
everywhere.
of like the sleigh goes over a car and the kid inside goes, "He's real," and then it cuts to the dad looking perplexed for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this supposed to be someone I know? Like, what's going
Tom
on?
thought it was a cameo.
I thought it was Ed Helms.
It kind of looks like Ed Helms.
People could not get enough of Ed Helms in 2006.
It's true, but it wasn't him.
Yeah,
When
it's
did the
just like,
Hangover come out? Hangover.
Oh, that was before.
2009. Okay, so not
maybe
yet.
Not.
yeah, and I'm like, is that Ed Helms? Like, why would they hang on that shot for so long?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's going through that town. He's skidding. He's smashing into cars.
The rapping granny shows up, and she's like,
yeah.
"Oh!"
with her dog.
Yeah.
Then he goes onto the lake, and then he like sinks through the pond.
He falls into the
And
water.
so the rest of the movie is a death dream, right? Matthew Broderick died.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming.
And then you have Gay Panic #1.
Yeah, this is
scene.
funny.
Oh, I laughed. This was a funny
It's
joke.
a funny scene. Yeah.
I kind
Not because of the gay panic, but because of like, I can't believe this is in the movie.
Yeah, the imagery. So he like wakes up.
shock.
He's blue, by the way. It's really funny makeup, but
I'm blue, dabu, dabu.
And then
He's joining the Blue Man group.
he realizes he's in a sleeping bag with a naked Danny DeVito, and he's naked as well.
yeah, they're in the back of the wife's car. They're taking him to the hospital. They're like, "You're suffering from hypothermia." So I got naked and I zipped us into this 2-person like sleeping bag.
which is what you are actually supposed to do when someone
Yeah,
has hypothermia.
that is what you're
because
supposed to
body
do.
heat-
Take off all your clothes and get body heat.
Yeah.
And of course, Matthew Broderick's like, "No!"
Yeah, literally screams, which
Yeah.
I guess is kind of funny.
Now this is my favorite thing about the movie is
It's the next shot.
the next
or a
shot.
photo.
the photo.
It legitimately was funny.
So yeah, he's back at home. You know, he's recovered, and the wife's like, "Oh, you know, don't be so hard on Buddy. You know, hey, look, he even photoshopped you into our family photo, and it's."
It's a picture he took at the
The
hospital.
picture he took of Matthew Broderick at the hospital, so he's like blue. He's blue.
He's like blue, and there's like wires coming out
He's
of it.
got like electrodes on him, and he's got like the oxygen like tube on
Didn't
his
he like
fingers'
Photoshop
nose.
the Christmas sweater on him? Yeah.
He's photoshopped.
Did he say Photoshop? I thought they just said
I think the
we
wife
took a
said-
photo at the hospital.
No, I think he said he took the photo at the hospital, but then photoshopped him into like with the rest
Okay.
of the family. So it's
It's funny because we were just talking about bad photoshops. Now this is a Photoshop used correctly for a comedy.
but he's like lying in bed and he's kind of rotated at a weird angle too. It's really
and it's like got this
It's
like
good
dead-eyed face. Like it's pretty funny.
That made me
probably
laugh.
the funniest joke in the movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm stealing it and giving you guys nothing.
Oh, I already said Kristen Chenoweth's.
Yeah, Danny DeVito. We're already done. Good night, everybody. We picked all
I
our
said
favorite
Kristen
things.
Chenoweth's nude photo of herself.
You don't see her nude though. Is there? There's no cutaway to it, is there?
No.
She's
Yeah.
like all her bits are covered up, but
Yeah.
it's like no, there is a cutaway to it, but you don't actually see her boobs or.
Okay.
She made some joke. They're like, "Oh, was it a famous artist?" And she's like, "Oh no, we just caught him like looking in the window or something like that."
Yeah.
Oh no, Danny DeVito
Yeah.
was looking in the window at her.
Oh.
That's how
Yeah.
they met each
She
other.
was posing nude at an art class, and they're like, "Oh,
Yes.
is he an artist?" And she goes, "No, he was peeking in through the window."
Oh,
and that's
okay.
how we met. Okay, so what happens next? Are we at the stupid winter festival yet?
No, we're not,
This
because
is the-
first they have to go to the Christmas tree lot.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, so this is the weirdest thing ever. Apparently, in this universe, guys, tell me if this is real.
Maybe it's a thing.
People reserve trees 15 years in advance, and at this
Like, they
tree
own
farm,
the lot.
yeah. So at
They
this
own the
tree
lot.
farm, you only are allowed to have these few trees. You can't have. There aren't like other trees available. You're only allowed to have these 5 trees that you reserve.
Well, Matthew Broderick has like a fenced area around his personal
There's other
hate this guy.
there's other families that have done this too. Like that can't be real. If
I
so,
don't know.
that's so bizarre.
Yeah, so he has like he's got the one that's fully grown, which is this year's tree he's going to cut down, and then he's got the one for next
year, and then the
year
year
before
after that,
that,
year after that.
for like the next 15 years, he said. But was this something you guys did? Like
Yes.
cut down trees at a lot?
Yeah.
I never went and cut a tree down myself.
No.
Never.
Yeah, growing up, there was a
Well,
big...
you lived in the wilds of
come on.
Oshawa, April.
Yeah,
so
well,
you
again,
have to open the door and wander into the forest.
We would drive up north towards Bowmanville, and so it was, again, like half hour, 45-minute drive, and it was a big tree farm. And it was kind of fun, but it was also kind of like a bit of a chore because it was always really, really cold.
Yeah.
And you walk around, you try and find a good one, and then my dad would cut it down. And then they also had pre-cut ones, but the idea is if you do go the real tree route, you cut it down because it's fresher, lasts longer.
It's tradition.
And then
Did you have
nice...
to wrap it up in a...
Like no, they do it for you.
That net or whatever it is?
So it would be like, we cut our tree down. Now wrap it up for me, please.
No, I think they just tied some string around it. I don't think it was like the burlap.
Okay.
But yeah. And then,
I used to be, we got to get a real tree. It has to be a real tree. And then one year I went, all right, Emily, let's get a fake tree. I love our fake tree so much.
I know.
I'm with
it's
you,
so
buddy.
much easier
You don't
than
have to
the
clean
real
up
tree.
needles on the ground.
I only ever did real tree when I lived, away from home in Toronto. I think once, maybe twice, 2 or 3 times when I lived with roommates. But yeah, it's a big pain. When you live in the city, you have to carry it from wherever you're buying it from. So you have to hope that there's one like around the corner. And then there's needles everywhere.
You got to water it.
Yeah, and then you got to dispose of it.
Yeah.
And when you dispose of it, the needles go everywhere.
They're extra dry.
Yeah,
So,
I've never had a real tree. I've always had a artificial one.
They do smell and look very nice.
They do.
It's not...
Yeah, get a candle that smells like trees and light that every night.
There's got to
You're
be
fine.
some pump spray or something.
There is, but it's just not practical.
Yeah.
For also when you don't have a car, it's not really good for city living or for people who you don't like. Growing up, we had a big truck, so we could just put it in the back of the truck, right? But yeah, fake tree all the way, and then there's a whole like subplot in this movie about Matthew Broderick's stupid Christmas tree when all his trees at the lot burned down because just a mistake by Danny DeVito.
Yeah, well they get into like a competition here, which is I don't know.
Well, it's all Matthew Broderick who instigates this.
Yeah, of course.
Where he's like, I'm the Christmas guy. I'm the Christmas guy. No one else can be the Christmas guy.
You can have Halloween.
Yeah, and then he's like...
He doesn't take too kindly to that, obviously.
Last one to get their tree to the car is a loser. And then, so Danny DeVito's got a chainsaw, and he kind of like knocks the gasoline tank by accident, and it just burns.
And the kids are like, Matthew Broderick, gas. And Matthew Broderick's like, I've had beans for supper or something like that.
I really don't think that's what he was saying.
No, he says, the wife's like, does anybody smell gas? And he's like, oh, give me a break, honey. I'm swinging pretty hard.
Yeah, so I guess when Matthew Broderick swings, he farts. I
thought what he meant was I'm swinging hard, so like I'm generating energy, like I'm a gas-powered person.
No, that is not what he said.
I'm going to say it's a fart joke.
It's a fart joke, as opposed to this like I'm a steampunk machine.
I run on gasoline. He was not Inspector Gadget yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
Or was he?
Was he
Inspector Gadget? Did Inspector Gadget run on gasoline? I don't know.
Oh, God, I hope not. Yeah, that's why Inspector Gadget is in charge of, like, the anti-electric car board. Because he's like, if there's no gas, I can't run anymore.
Yeah, he's got this really annoying, like, 2-stroke engine sound wherever he walks. Like, just, like, blue smoke coming out the back.
So all of his trees burned down for his sins, the sin of pride.
Just because Danny DeVito accidentally spilt some gas from his chainsaw. And so then they're like, oh, well, we're lucky the tree farm had one tree left. First of all, unless it's the day before Christmas, which it's not, they will have trees. Other places will have trees. Go buy a fake tree.
Danny DeVito wanders into the woods and there's tons of trees.
Exactly. So no, Matthew Broderick has this tree that basically is tiny and
like 2 feet tall.
Has no needles on it.
Yeah, there's no way that would be the only one left at this lot. They're
like he's punishing himself at that point. The tree I deserve.
And this is all DeVito's fault. It's not my fault at all.
Yeah. So the next day he's all pissed off. Then the next day he sees Buddy on the street like buying more. Matthew Broderick owns like a pharmacy or something like that in town. He's an optometrist.
No, he's an optometrist.
He doesn't own a pharmacy.
Oh, what did I think he went to pharmacy?
Because he says, "Hey guys, everything's free,"
oh no,
yeah, because he
wants
sees
people
Danny
to take
DeVito
his
buying
stuff.
lights, and he says, "You can't buy lights. You can't do this." And then people walking by, he's like, "Take these, take these." So Danny DeVito, doesn't have these lights, and everybody loves Danny DeVito at this point.
Yeah,
they love his Christmas display.
Well, first of all, yeah. Also, like the people you saw consulting Matthew Broderick earlier on in the movie for Winterfest, they start coming to Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm talking to Buddy. Like, what do you think? What kind of lights do you think?
Which,
we have?
like, why wouldn't you? He has an amazing display. Like,
Of course.
there can be two, people who are really into Christmas, but apparently this is taking something away from Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, it's the only thing. he
Even
has.
George Garcia, Hurley from Lost,
Jorge
loves-
Garcia.
Yeah, what the hell?
Oh, Jorge Garcia.
You see him approaching in the back, and he like meets Danny DeVito. He's like, "Oh, this is like the greatest honor of my life."
I don't even know what was up with that.
I think that was like the last scene he's in. Like,
No, he commentates the skating.
Oh
thing.
shit, that's right.
Yeah, why is he obsessed with Danny DeVito? I don't know.
I guess it's like he's heard from far and wide.
He's a big Christmas guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, why would you go to Matthew Broderick to ask him for, consultation on the
because
the
he's
tree?
Mr.
He
Stuffy.
doesn't even have any like decorations on his house. He's a lame-o.
Yeah, he's a lame-o.
And we then get it's just scene after scene
I think it's
here.
like the cookbook. His like wife's gonna. Make
Oh
a
yeah, the cookbook where
That is kind of
Kristen
funny.
Chenoweth is like, you should write a cookbook for real moms who cook for real families, aka only white and upper middle class.
Yeah, but I mean, she's like, "Oh, that's a great idea," and I mean, Matthew Broderick did tell her that in the opening scene.
He's like,
so
"Hey,
it's kind
I
of
told you
funny
that many
because
times."
it's like, fuck you.
Yeah, but he's
Matthew
a
Broderick.
douche.
Yeah, the way
He's a
he
douche.
said
He
it was
sucks.
mean.
Yeah.
She needed to
Yeah.
be actually built up by a supportive friend, and
Yeah.
I enjoy their friendship. in
Yeah,
this movie.
but it's like-
nice.
Oh yeah, then they're supposed to go caroling, and we forgot to mention that in the background, Fred Armisten's been running around,
Yeah,
the master
he-
of accents himself.
He also is barely in this movie.
Yeah.
They didn't even use him well.
He and his so yeah, it's like him and his wife. They're both like Germans or something. So I don't know, whatever. It's like barely. a
Anyway,
character.
Matthew Broderick is going to start doing caroling. He's like, let's sing Holly and the Ivy, the most fucking boring song about
Song
Jesus
that
there
no
is.
one's like ever heard of. And then of course
Danny
DeVito's got like a
he's got like a sound system.
He's got like a
It's
DJ and a
yeah, it's
record
like-
scratching.
Yeah, he's playing like Christmas
"Yo,
rap music.
Merry
I want to go hang out with
Christmas."
Danny
Yeah, no
DeVito.
wonder. It's like, yeah, he's got hip hop going and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
And
then Matthew Broderick has to deal with the scum of RV owners.
okay,
Yeah.
this scene I actually laughed at.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who this guy is that plays the RV owner, but he's so like
he's like drunk.
country, and he really reminded me of like a stereotypical like Canadian character, even
Yeah.
though he's not.
Don't you mean an Oshawa character? April?
But he was funny, and he's like,
Yeah, he was
yeah,
funny.
you can back out, it'll be fine.
Yeah, Broderick's like, oh, I'm gonna.
and Matthew Broderick's like, I don't think I have room.
Yeah, he's trying to squeeze out. He's like, I want to report Danny DeVito to the sheriff. So
Which
he's trying
is
to
like,
back out of
come on.
his driveway, and it's like,
Oh yeah, that's why he's doing that already, right? Whereas
Yeah.
you're like, I'm going to the
yeah.
sheriff.
And he's like, I can't squeeze between that. But the guy's like wasted, and again,
And he's
everything,
like, yeah, go.
everything is about like Matthew Broderick being like emasculated because he's like the drunk guy's like, oh man, men don't know how to drive anymore. Like,
But it
come
was
on,
all it was also like
give me the keys. I'll back it out for you. And he's like, no, I can do it.
But Matthew Broderick comes out and said, "Hey guys, I gotta move my car." Not, excuse me, I gotta back out. Do you mind just
Yeah.
He's a jerk, so they're gonna be a jerk back to him. It's like I'm watching Curb Your Enthusiasm over here.
I don't think they're doing it intentionally though, but the guy's wasted and he's like, yeah, you can
Yeah,
make it. And he backs up
he
and
was
it like
funny.
rips both of his car doors.
Yeah, he's
off.
like he's stuck in the middle, and he's like, it's like a Band-Aid. You gotta just go for it, and both of the doors pop off, and then he's driving with no front doors. That was pretty funny.
and then he gets to the
And
sheriff's
he goes to the
office.
sheriff, and the whole joke is the sheriff is wearing a bra and a thong. Hilarious,
Isn't
right,
that
guys?
funny?
That like
Yeah.
what was I was so confused because I missed that earlier setup that of like whatever. But he sees the sheriff kind of like scratching his shoulder and then he kind of gets a glimpse of like a pink bra. And he's like, it's a back support, I hurt my back. And then he kind of like bends down after
And he
you
has
can see
wearing a
like a
thong.
pink thong or something. And Matthew Broderick like runs out of there like, "Ah!"
Yeah,
And it's like, okay, what was the point of that scene? It was so random.
no.
It never comes back again as far as I know.
We
Nope.
see that sheriff
And,
again, but no, I don't.
Matthew Broderick sucks. Oh, Danny DeVito's house now is like all lit up with lights, like wild lights. There's a cute conversation where he and his wife talk about like, this is dumb, isn't it? Like, what am I doing? I'll take him down.
And she's like, no,
And she's
no,
like-
this means more than just the lights.
Yeah, I mean, if I was her, I'd be like, just keep it up until Christmas is over. Like, we don't know what. Actually, we do see dates, so it's like midway through December at this point.
Yeah. And also, it would be impossible to power this much lights. This is a movie, and
IMDb trivia says that it's LED light, so it's actually you would only need power of like 1.5 houses to power.
Well, just enough to take half of Matthew Broderick's power
which
juice,
we find out that
hydro
that
juice.
he's doing. Yeah, so from here on, it's just like kind of scene after scene. It's like stupid skits. So Matthew Broderick dresses up in like tactical gear, and he's gonna like blow Danny DeVito's fuse so the lights go out.
And then Danny DeVito has a big generator.
And it's like, that's even louder.
That's louder than the music.
It's like, wah, wah.
They do this speed skating competition, and
Yes.
Am I wrong in saying Danny DeVito probably can't speed skate?
Yeah, but he does win because everybody else falls down.
Yes.
Okay, Matthew Broderick accidentally goes the wrong way, and then he like does half of the pass in the wrong direction. He can't just jump back and then finish the race.
That's what I was saying. I was
That
like,
doesn't
you're not
count.
allowed to just start going backwards. Jorge should have called that out.
Yeah, it's the whole scene is so dumb, and it's just like the gag is Matthew Broderick's wearing like a speed skating outfit.
Isn't it funny that he is?
They see sexy women on stage, and they're like, "I love to fuck those women." Yeah. Who's your daddy?
Yeah. Like, first of all, they're like, let's get along. Hey, I'd like to, and like, yeah. And like, so Matthew Broderick starts the "Who's your daddy" stuff, and like, okay,
Yells it really loud.
Say it wasn't their daughters.
Yeah.
That is still extremely inappropriate. This is a family event.
Yeah.
And of course it is their
The girls
daughters.
turn around and it's all their daughters, and then it's like a hard cut to them in church, like putting holy water in their eyes.
I feel
That was funny.
like
I
that
laughed at that.
scene was like just for the trailer.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Then we see Buddy's trying to buy more lights, and it's established earlier on in the movie that Kristen Chenoweth has this vase, like
From her grandmother.
the grandmother's vase
That she keeps right in the open. That she's like, it's worth more than this house. And it's like, what? Why are you keeping it in the open where anyone can bump into it and knock it
it's
over?
on this like wobbly platform.
And yet, never gets knocked over.
Never gets knocked over. I thought they were
What
setting it up.
a ripoff.
So-
like, I kept waiting for that vase to break.
So Danny DeVito, in order to afford more lights, sells this thing. She gives him shit, and then we're introduced to Cal Penn, who works.
I was shocked.
Doing a British accent.
Shocked he was in this movie.
He's like a NASA worker.
Yeah, doing a very stereotypical British accent. He's going for it.
It's kind of funny because like later, he's like, "Oh, so and so's gran just came by with a tin of biscuits.
Got some biscuits, so we're gonna have a laugh."
We're having a laugh."
So, okay. So yeah, he works at what, NASA?
NASA, and he keeps checking because the news crew comes by and he's checking, giving them confirmation whether they can see the house on satellite or not. Danny DeVito's house is like tricked out at this point. It has like video displays and
Yeah. Danny DeVito's face appears in the lights.
which I don't think is possible.
well, I don't know. It looks like they did it practically for the movie, but it's like, and this house display goes on forever.
Yeah.
If I went to go see someone's lights and like they appeared multiple times in the lights, I'd be like, what the fuck is this person doing?
If it wasn't a famous Danny DeVito, if it was just like a random guy who owns the house, I would be running.
Really
That's
creeped
weird.
out. And then it's also established that he like quits his job at one point. It's like,
No, he gets fired because he's like, I need to focus on the lights.
Yeah.
they have this weird scene where the boss is like, you haven't been showing up to work. And he's like, these lights. I'm obsessed with these lights. And it's just like, what the fuck? Yeah, so he goes out, but it's like earlier on, after like Broderick like blows his fuse, Danny DeVito like tries to make nice, and then Broderick wakes up. There's a huge Christmas tree in his living room. We didn't talk about this, with like an apology note.
Yeah, and it's like,
Saying,
wow.
sorry, let's just be friends. I got you this like Christmas tree. How the fuck did he get into their house?
Yeah, they never say, what? So Danny DeVito broke into our house
Danny
and installed this
DeVito
tree?
cannot carry a 8 foot, 9 foot tall tree.
Yeah, and again, how does he do all this without being heard or seen?
How does Santa do
he's like
anything,
Santa.
Colin?
Yeah.
It's the magic of Christmas.
So this is like Cape Fear territory. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
He gets him a
And then he
brand
buys
new
them, and
truck.
then he's got a brand new SUV outside with a big giant bow on it. And then it turns out later that it's actually the tree from the town square that he's cut down and framed.
And it's funny.
Broderick.
Danny DeVito later on is like, "Yeah, I forged your signature. You just bought a new truck."
Yeah,
just committed a felony.
All right. Just like, okay, we're just committing crime.
Does the town ever find out that tree?
No,
because
it never plays into anything.
Tree
Oh, do they?
burns down.
Yeah, because the tree burns down, and then the firemen come, and then they find the decoration on the top of the tree, which is very unique.
They recognize
it.
Marilyn Monroe figure.
Yeah. But it never goes anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't come to anything, but the sheriff or whatever does.
Oh,
find
yeah,
out.
that's right. Because what ends up happening is Matthew Broderick, in a fit of insanity, buys a bunch of fireworks that he specifically says wants to give Danny DeVito a heart attack.
Yeah, that's like they're illegal fireworks.
At this point in the movie, Kristen Chenoweth has had enough. She knows he sold the vase, and she's like, "You're getting way into this.
I'm taking the kids.
I'm
and
leaving," and he lets them leave.
Yeah.
So
he's an obsessed asshole.
So Matthew Broderick in the scene on the roof, which is really dumb. He can't play like this like slapstick stuff, which makes he probably does do this on Broadway a lot. But like he's
like
so
not play slapstick,
so
like people in the audience are like, "Ooh, he's bad."
Funny.
Like Death of a Salesman.
He's so not funny. No, he played the character from The Producers. So I don't know. Anyway, so he's like falling off this roof and like throwing fireworks at them, and they're like exploding on the lights, which did look kind of nice. But of course,
and the big rocket goes down his chimney and burns his house down, pretty much.
He says it's just
he
confined
does
to
have
the
a funny
living room.
line. He goes, "Oh, I wish this hadn't happened."
yeah, and then of course Kristen
Davis.
Davis, and she's like,
I'm taking the kids.
I'm leaving and I'm going and staying with Kristen Chenoweth at the motel because you are nuts. And she said, no. And he's like, it's all Buddy Hall's fault. And she goes, the only one ruining Christmas is you.
Which is true.
So what's weird about this movie is that like it doesn't even have like a big climactic confrontation between Broderick and DeVito.
No.
Like I looked at the time and I'm like 15 more minutes. Oh, can't wait to see what's up there. Nothing. Schmaltz. That's all that's left to this.
They just decide to put aside their differences and get their families back.
He kind of hears Danny DeVito, who's already taken all the lights from his house down. Again,
somehow,
how
magically.
did he do this? This would take like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Somehow he's done it on his own, and he's like, I've tried everything to get my wife back, and then he's like, you haven't tried the lights. So somehow it cuts to the families in this motel room. Mm-hmm. The kid looks outside. They have made a pathway from the motel door, their very door. How the fuck did they do all this?
If I was their wives and I saw Christmas lights, I'd be like, these fucking Christmas lights.
Yeah,
Fuck
I'm
this.
sick of it.
I don't care. This is why we left and you're doing it again.
They're like they're hammered all around the motel door.
Yeah,
how did they do this?
They would hear them. So it leads them all the way back.
They've made a pathway all throughout the town. This would take, a film crew like 5 days
a week,
to do.
Yeah.
Somehow they've done it in like 30 minutes. All the way through the town.
In public.
And they made dinner.
Yeah, so it leads them all the way back to the house. Wow, look at all these lights.
And by the way, the food on the table looks like absolute shit.
Yeah, it does.
And she's like, oh my God, that's the recipe from our cookbook we've been working on. Wow, that sucks.
And then Danny DeVito shows that he bought the vase back for Kristen Chenoweth.
With what money?
With what money?
We don't
what
know.
the fuck?
I think he sold his lights.
Yeah, but then he still has them.
Yeah, but like how? This was like 30 minutes ago. He just took them down. But it's like he goes, let's just say we can't ever use our credit cards for the rest of our lives.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what he said.
It's like, what is
Now they're in
funding all
even
this?
more horrible
You don't have a
debt.
job. You're like
She doesn't work either.
in debt up to your ears. She doesn't work.
This movie cost $51 million to make. Yes.
Is that a lot?
That's a lot for this type of movie.
For this type of movie? Yes.
my God.
It made
Actors,
47.2.
Don't blame them.
So
The
now
audience, I
we're
mean.
finally at the end of the movie, which is really dumb, which is they decide to put the lights back up anyway.
Back on
Because the whole
house.
town shows
Yeah.
up.
And they bring their own lights, right?
Yeah, everybody
And-
brings their own
Which
lights.
makes no sense, but whatever.
So they took them down from their house? Like, what's going on?
They took them down, put them all up in the
trail.
the creepy light pathway, and now the town has showed up. Now they're going to put all the lights back on this house in what, like 30 minutes again? Like,
Yep. Because MTV is coming.
yeah, MTV is coming to like do a news report on them. So we got to get the people will be so disappointed.
So they do. And then they all turn off.
Yeah, they blow the power of the fuse or something.
And then Kristen Chenoweth leads everybody to hold up candles and sing, or hold up their Motorola cell phones. And then they realize we don't need a big stupid light display. It's all just about being together on the holidays.
We just need a song.
Actually, the thing was just unplugged. And then everything goes on. So we actually do need lights, you guys, because
the lights are so bright that it makes the NASA people look away.
Yeah.
If that was the case, if it could be seen from space, it would melt the skin off the bodies of anyone nearby.
Yeah, it's like they're closing their eyes at the how bright it is on their monitor. Like,
like it would just blow their clothes off.
It would be like a nuclear explosion.
Yeah, and on the monitor you see the view from space, and it's like this gigantic beam is shooting up, like just barely missing like the satellite with the camera on it. It's like everyone around in that neighborhood would have their skin like just burned right off.
This is like a movie that is really about like dumb white yuppie like decadence. Like
absolutely.
What matters? Wasting a bunch of energy and a fucking light display.
Yeah, it's just bored rich people.
Yeah, like you could have an actually interesting story about maybe fighting with your neighbors, and but it has to be about lights.
Yeah, it has to. The motivation was so weak with Danny DeVito.
Yeah, it's like I don't care if he has a big display.
Just really ill-defined. So they should have, they try to have them compete at various things during the movie, but it doesn't work, and it's just like
wouldn't it have been easier if there was just like a competition that Matthew Broderick wins every year, and then Danny DeVito shows up and he's gonna do it too? That's it.
Or like he's got the best decorations on his house, and then Danny DeVito shows up, the new guy in town, tries to outdo him. That would have been something. At least there's like conflict there, but it's like this manufactured conflict that doesn't really come from anywhere.
It's like Danny DeVito wants to have a big display for some reason, and Matthew Broderick just wants to rain on his parade.
Yeah,
that's what the movie is.
Now, like The Grinch, will people come out and be like, no, Deck the Halls is great. I watched it as a kid. I love it.
I'm thinking no. I really don't think this movie has any fans at all.
The Grinch was the highest grossing movie of that year, by the way. This was not.
Number 2, Deck the Halls. What?
Yeah. So the movie's over.
That's it. There's
they
credits.
Play that Up on the Housetop by George S. Clinton. Not that George Clinton, the other George Clinton.
The George S. Clinton who does movie soundtracks.
He does movie soundtracks. So this movie is not good, unfortunately. Although it does have its moments.
Had some laughs.
I cannot deny that. And I feel like I laughed more watching it than I did Christmas with the Cramps. I don't know why I keep comparing it to Cranks, but because we just watched it.
It's very similar, but
it's very similar.
I feel if it wasn't Danny DeVito in that role, if it was just some other character or like some other actor that, whatever, he's just sort of instantly likable.
And Jet Chenoweth is good too.
She's good too, yeah. But if it was somebody else and it was just like him and Matthew Broderick, it would have been just fucking miserable.
It would have been a nightmare. Miserable. If it was like Ray Romano or something, I don't think I would like it as much.
I got lights on my house.
So
I cannot believe that the DVD of this has commentary with the director and Danny DeVito.
Oh my God.
I want to hear that.
Oh, we didn't talk about the drunk Danny DeVito.
Oh yeah. Danny DeVito promoted this movie on The View after being drunk on too many limoncellos.
Yeah, I didn't know that
Clooney.
This is the movie that he was promoting. I had no idea.
Yeah, so look up.
Well, you would know because he just starts to say the end of the movie, and then Roseanne's like, "Stop it! You're telling the end of the movie." Like, oh yeah, whatever you say, Roseanne. And the crowd's like, "Woo!"
Yeah, I had never heard of limoncello until I saw that. And I was like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "Wow, that looks. I've got to try this out. It's really good." He's got his own line of limoncello now because of that interview.
Yeah, he does.
It became so popular.
Now, I will say there's a lot of like kind of these like bad mid-level Christmas movies that came out, comedies that came out in the 2000s. As far as ones that I've seen, which are not a lot, this is probably the better one. It's better than Four Christmases, and
I've never seen Four Christmases.
I tried watching it last year and I didn't really like it. But it's like 4 movies in one because it's like we have to visit 4 families.
What about Fred Claus?
I haven't seen that yet, and I'm watching it this year. It's on the list. Get me
really?
some
I've never
Vince
seen Fred
Vaughn
Claus
and
either.
Paul Giamatti. Yeah, I haven't seen that, and I haven't seen Bad Moms Christmas yet. So.
And Kevin Spacey.
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, this movie's not great, but it does have its moments. So if you want to see something that may make you laugh, and it's vaguely related to Christmas,
Don't recommend this movie.
throw it on. I'm just trying to be nice.
What are you trying to do? Are you being paid by
Deck
Trying to
Halls
ruin people's
Incorporated?
holidays.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this movie is available on Amazon Prime, so didn't have to pay for it, and I'm sure it's very available.
Oh, we could have watched Surviving Christmas, the Ben Affleck, Mr. Sopranos movie.
What? Surviving Christmas.
You've never heard of Surviving Christmas? Ben Affleck is like a rich guy that pays to live a normal Christmas with James Gandolfini and his family.
Oh my God,
I
are you sitting?
don't know that movie.
Serious?
Yeah, it came out in 2004.
That sounds interesting.
Oh my God.
Christina Applegate. It was like a famously bad movie. I remember liking it when I watched it.
Well, I'll add that to the list too, because this Christmas I'm watching a lot of bad movies. Because
poor Colin.
You could say this was a
Yeah.
lump of coal.
Well, I made
in
him
our
watch The
Christmas
Family Man
stocking.
the other day, but that's a good movie.
No.
Brett Ratner. Okay.
Brett the Rattler Ratner?
Yeah.
The Rattler. The Rattler Ratner.
If you want to email the podcast, we're at no such thing as a bad movie @gmail.com, and we're on Twitter at no such thing pod. And if you want to support us on Patreon, patreon.com/no such thing as a bad movie. If you're on the $5 level, you'll get a mini bonus episode every 2 weeks. And we just recorded one on that Star Wars show or full length episode, not full length, but a longer,
It's a good 40 minutes.
30 to 40 minute episode, all on Andor, and we talk about some other Star Wars stuff. So it's the hot new Star Wars show. And if you want to find me, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at April Atmansky.
You can find me on Twitter at DeClux, DCLOUX, the letter J, every week on the Important Cinema Club. And if you're listening to this on the Friday or early on Saturday morning, the day after this episode drops, check the Holiday Movie Mind Melter. It's a 14-hour marathon of Christmas movies that I will be playing at Twitch TV /Important Cinema Club. If you want more info, check out my Twitter page. It's the post pinned at the top of my profile.
You can follow me on Twitter, Sergeant Zima, SGTZIMA. That is all.
Is that it? Okay, that's it for this week. More
Does
Christmas
Colin ever
content
say
coming.
anything other than that?
No,
I don't know.
It looked like you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was trying to think. Like, do I ever say anything else?
All right, everybody. I hope you're enjoying.
Calling out.
I hope you're mic drop. I hope you're enjoying your Christmas season. We've got one more Christmas episode to go, and we'll see what happens in the new year.
Is it your choice?
Yeah, but
boy.
already pre-picked.
Okay.
But
What is
we'll
it?
Get,
Can you give us a hint?
it only is Christmas at the beginning of the movie, and the rest of it's
Oh,
not Christmas.
yeah, we're doing it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for dropping by. I'm April Atmansky.
I'm Justin the Glue.
And I'm Colin Cunningham.
And remember, there's no such thing as a bad Christmas movie.
Whoa!
Oh.